What up? What it is? What's popping? It's the neighborhood nice guy, Kdot, and welcome to another episode of Jump Ball and Study Hall, where intellect meets the court. Championship weekend has just wrapped, and now the entire college basketball landscape is shifting. We had the conference titles that were won by some of the Power Four conferences, and of course, the Big East champion. Brackets will now be shaken, and teams across the country are making their final arguments before Selection Sunday. Texas stepped into the SEC spotlight and showed why they can dictate tempo against anyone, even South Carolina. UCLA delivered one of the loudest statements of the week in the Big Ten, putting together a performance that has people asking one question: should they be the number one overall seed? West Virginia, they made a run in the Big 12 that nobody cannot ignore anymore. And then when you have UConn, who walks out of the Big East tournament with yet another trophy, the national championship conversation immediately follows. But there is this time of the year where the next generation stars take center stage. We'll talk about freshmen like Jazzy Davison, Aubrey Galvan, and Aaliyah Chavez, who are already making impacts to their teams. And the freshman of the year race is starting to heat up. So we break it all down today: the champions, the contenders, the sleepers, and the players who might own the spotlight in March. This will be a great film to study. And I got my homeboys with me of the best damn W to all talk about it. This is Jump Ball and Study Hall. Let's get into it. It's the neighborhood nice guy K Dot, and we are back with another episode of Jump Ball and Study Hall. And I have some very special guests with me tonight. These gentlemen are killing the women's basketball market, the women's basketball media circuit, the women's basketball conversation. You do catch them every Tuesday night live at about 9:30. Sometimes gotta get with the time, but they're always there and they're always talking great hoops. I have 3/4 of the best damn W with me. We got Nick, Jay, and Wiley in the building. My
Yeah.
guys, what's
happening?
going on?
Chilling,
Good,
chilling.
man. The
Oh,
crew, man.
Yeah, man.
Relaxing
Listen.
from this weekend, especially Wiley. I know Wiley's probably trying to relax this weekend.
I tried.
I can
Yeah.
only imagine. Listen, before we jump right into it, y'all got to give me just a little bit of you guys' experience because, as you all may know or may not know, Jay and Wiley were boots on the ground at the Big Ten tournament. Was something for me that was a really proud moment because seeing them in the way that they've grown inside of the media space, it really put a lot of things into perspective because we are a very small percentage of men who champion women's sports, and we definitely try to do it from a perspective of understanding the woman's point of view in plight and not getting way too into the additional politics of everything. We honestly, as men, we just have common sense. So
Yeah.
I can't say the
But-
same for a lot of other men out there. And that's why I respect these gentlemen. But how was your experience and what's the biggest thing that you guys took away from it?
I'm gonna let Wiley go first.
Man, first off, I didn't expect to. First off, thank you for having me on the show. Start there. Definitely didn't expect to be on here until you hit me with the text. It was like, and I'm sitting there like, oh, all right, that. But and then when it comes to the Big Ten tournament, shout out to Jay because this has not happened without him. I'm not there if it's not for him. Him reaching out and just asking me if I wanted to do it, and it's just like, all right, bet, let's go. Because I mean, for me, it was another challenge. Shooting sports photography is one thing, but then doing this at a stage where this is seen everywhere And it's just trying to make sure I do right by not only by myself, but by the show, make sure I represent us well. And of course, make sure I get these shots. That's the whole, for me, that was it. Make sure I get these shots, make sure that everything looks the way I want it to, make sure that people will like what they see. As far as the experience, it was, for me, first time doing this, great experience from my part. I mean, I didn't have any issues from getting there, getting parking. Like, they were very responsive. Of course, having to go through Jay, but seeing how responsive they were, making sure that we got those emails to get parking, making sure that we knew where to go, stuff, things of that nature. I had no issues getting to the media room, and it just became a battle rhythm for me. I get there. Once I figured out where I needed to go, everything else is like, all right, I'm here. I know what to do. I know where to go. But great experience overall, man. Shout out to UCLA. They did the damn thing. But great hoops just overall. Great games. I had shoot, as tired as I am from it, I had a good black ass time.
Yeah, I definitely can relate to that. So Jay, of course, along with Wiley, I know Wiley expressed his first experience of it, but you're not too much of a rookie in this, right? You understand this not only from a basketball standpoint, but I've seen you in other sports landscapes, right? So what was that experience like for you, being able to do the Big Ten tournament, and how much of an experience it is to do a tournament like that compared to just a regular season game?
First of all, shout out to the Big Ten. Anytime I do stuff with them, last year, Big Ten tournament, media day, when they have it, it's like Candace and the crew there, they are phenomenal. They get stuff done. They get emails out. It's just like Wiley was saying, I enjoy dealing with the Big Ten. Now since I'm not able to do sports photography right now, I know what Wiley was going through. People don't understand. This one thing. I'm on this side. I'm watching the game. I'm taking notes, asking questions, doing whatever. But when you are one of the photographers, got to capture these games. When you're just watching the game, you can get up, go to the bathroom. You can catch up some way, somehow.
Right.
That's not possible when you're doing photography. That's not possible. I know what he would do. I haven't shot an entire tournament weekend, but I've went out of time done marathon weekends. And when you're going to post for a marathon, no matter if it's bike, cycling, or running, you don't know when next time you're going to be able to eat or use the bathroom. So
yes.
Shout out to Wiley for doing what he was doing, because for 3 days in a row to do that, I know what you was going through. There ain't no oops. I missed that.
Nah.
There's none of that. But it's tiring doing tournaments. It's long days, long nights, but it's fun. You meet fans. The fans aren't the same in person.
Nah.
It's totally different.
I would say after that championship game, the kids are the best, because you see the kids and they're screaming, trying to get autographs, trying to get pictures. I was like, that's the dope part to see. That's why you always see people tweet out, "Hey, the W means more."
It does. You see it when you're there.
Shout out to Ari Chambers for that. She said the W is important.
It is
W
important.
very important.
See it
And
there.
this ain't
Another thing that's very important to me when I go to games or tournaments, whatever, is the food. The food, the spread of the media snacks.
Yes,
it was amazing. They had that shit laid out. What's the name of the Patriot Stadium? Game Bridge, right? That's the name of it.
Yeah, Game Bridge. Yeah.
I always just call it. I don't know what they love. I don't really call them that, but it's very easy to navigate, and they got some amazing food. Each day, the Big Ten give you a $20 voucher, so you can go. Yesterday, I had a double. I forget what type of burger it was, and tater tots came with it. It was $18, but your voucher paid for it.
Right.
Your voucher paid for it, but we had all the type of stuff. Look, they was giving away these.
Yeah, I damn sure.
They was giving away these.
That was in the media room.
It was giving all way type of stuff. But that's the thing, though. It's not every team And y'all know that every team or every conference do the same thing, pro or college.
No.
We need stuff because it'd be just some long days. Think about it when say you go there from Wednesday, ain't gonna be long, but say that you be there from Wednesday to Sunday. Wednesday is 4 games. Thursday is what, 4 games. Friday you going. It's some long days. You start watching games from 11 o'clock. It's long days watching games at home. So then when you be actually when you actually there watching or you watching, you gotta pay attention. You talking to people, photographers doing their thing. And there's so much behind the scenes that you don't even see. The big media room, it's just tables and tables of photographers and journalists on their laptops working and doing so much stuff. And then you got the PR people telling us what's gonna come next. This is open, that is open. It's so much. But everybody was helpful. Everybody who worked at Gamebridge was helpful, who worked for the Patriots or the Fever. Everybody who worked for the Big Ten and the respective teams was very, very respectful. Everybody was cool. It was a long weekend, but especially for Wiley, especially a super long weekend for Wiley. But it was good though, man. I suggest everybody, if you can, to do that. Next year, the Big Ten tournament gonna be in Vegas. We will be there. Yeah, so they switched it from Indianapolis to it's gonna be Vegas, then Detroit, and then hopefully it's gonna be in Chicago that following year after that.
Oh, Chicago gonna be a movie in 2020.
Oh wow.
But yeah, man, I enjoy this. For us to be meeting in this space, we actually enjoy the basketball. And also I started this space as well because even as on my sports photography side, especially when I do soccer, games and baseball games, ain't a lot of people that look like me. I might be the only one. And even this weekend, Wiley, how many people you see look like you this weekend?
Shit.
It's 3. It's not a lot of us. So
nah.
It's not. So that's no reason not say I would never hire white people, you know what I'm saying, or anybody like that. But it's to help us to get into these spaces, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not a lot of us whatsoever. It's very few in between. So that's another thing. Us being a male and we're Black and we care about this sport. We're not just here just because. Well, we care about these players. We want to tell their story. You know what I'm saying?
I think that also the best part about it was the fact that when people were asking me, well, who are you with? And I get to say, I'm with the Best Damn W show. And I actually had one person be like, oh, I've heard of that show before. Yeah. But to get our name out there, to be able to put us out there, that anytime somebody asks, I was like, yeah, this part is what's needed. This is where it needs to be. And also the hardest part is trying to keep up with your damn tech with the group chat and all the games going on. Cause I feel my watch vibrating. I look down and it's the family and they talking about games. And I'm like, kind of want to look and see what the score is.
That's the best part about not doing photography is that you have your laptop up and watch the other games. That's basically what everybody be doing.
I love that.
Right.
Just watching the games. But yeah, man, that's another thing, not to hold the show up, is when people ask about this business of going outside, you going to games as much as possible. Going to games, tournaments for sure. Media day is for sure. If you can get the media day, everybody is there. Whatever conference you go to, everybody is there. If you go outside enough, people are going to see you. If you ask them questions, 9 times out of 10, they tell you to say your name and outlet because it's going to be transcribed. And then with a name, Best Damn W, you're really not going to forget it in the first place.
Not at all.
You're not going to forget it. So whoever you with, whatever you start, just go out as much as possible. You're going to get no's. 100%. You're going to get no's regardless. But once they start seeing you doing it, you're going to get them yeses. And then yes, it's going to get to the point I know I'm going to get approved for this. I know I'm going to get approved for that. So just go outside and people going to start knowing you.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out before we get started because I'm going to start with Nick on the next question. But I want to give a shout out to our girl, Lolo Bike on Twitter. Don't mess with her. You know what the fuck going on. So definitely miss her presence tonight. She's also co-host of the 9450.
You know what I'm talking about?
and managing partner of the 9450. So shout out to Lolo. But we got an exciting show tonight, and I want you guys' perspective on a lot of things that I'm curious about. I'm going to talk about the Power Four championships plus the Big East. And I want to start off with kind of your conference championship weekend wrap up. And I want Nick to give me his perspective on what he thought stood out from each title game that he saw and what was most important to you coming into Selection Sunday as we go into it within the next week or so.
I think the biggest takeaway that I have from just overall all the tournaments is that, I mean, this is just the time where you get the nitty and gritty. I mean, this is really the time where teams are going to show who wants it, players are going to show who wants it, and we're going to see the teams who may not be mentally prepared enough. And that's one thing that I kind of understood heading to this tournament that I didn't really understand is that depending on where you start, whether it's the first round or you might get a single bye or double bye, you're playing multiple days in a row. You may have a game on Thursday at noon or so, or maybe not noon. Maybe you may have a game on Thursday at 5:30, and then the game on Friday will be at noon. So you got less than 24 hours to, get ready and prepare for that next matchup. And it's not easy for that, especially when physically you're tired, you're fatigued, your legs are not underneath you. So that's where the mental game comes into play for a lot of teams, because it's not easy to be able to just bounce back, especially with less than 24 hours. So I think that's one thing that I took away from it. And I think we had a chance to see a lot of talented teams that may not get talked about enough. And I'll start just, for instance, West Virginia, the Big 12. I think they were one of those teams that were kind of under the cusp, in my opinion. They were always talented. And I've been high on West Virginia for the past couple of years. I mean, Jordan Harrison is one of the elite two-way point guards in this game. Even when they had JJ Cornelly a couple of years ago, she was an elite two-way guard as well. And then, of course, you look at the upgrade that they had this year, getting, obviously, Mimi Wheeler from Norfolk State, and you add on Gia Cook. West Virginia was one team that, I think people respected in the Big 12, but I don't think people relatively thought that they were going to come out on top in the conference tournament. And the way that they were just being able to have the run that they had, that was just all really them hanging their hat on the defensive end, which has been their bread and butter. And obviously, them being able to hang their hat on that end led to easy opportunities offensively for them. So I give a lot of credit to them. And then, of course, other teams as well. We saw Duke being able to win back-to-back ACC titles. Give credit to them, and that was a really great game between them and Louisville. It definitely came down to stretch. Ended up going into overtime, but just the better team was able to pull through. So give credit to them. But just overall, honestly, man, I think that's something that we've seen a lot throughout the conference tournament. It's just how you mentally prepare for games, because especially when you have to go 3-4 days in a row where you're trying to win, that's not always easy for a lot of teams.
And I definitely agree with you there. And your biggest takeaway was something that was intriguing that you mentioned was West Virginia. We all know that the Big 12 went through a really, really good season. I mean, obviously TCU was right up there. You also had some up and downs from Iowa State. Also, you had Baylor as well. So I think that a lot of people didn't necessarily have West Virginia coming out on top, but a lot of pure hoop heads was, okay, y'all sleeping on West Virginia a lot, right? Because when it comes to tournament play, everything prides on the defensive side. If you know how to defend shot making, then you're more than likely going to have a good game and win the game. So I think that was very, very important. And for them to come out on top, that was really, really, really good. And when I saw that matchup, that was something I was, okay, TCU might be in trouble.
And honestly, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I want to say we all picked West Virginia to make the championship game in our last episode. I know, at least I
believe we did.
Yeah,
I believe
you did.
Yeah.
I think we did.
So, I mean, we know what they're made of, man. And I mean, it's like you said, I mean, I think the Big 12 has definitely shown a lot of progression this year. I mean, not even just those top teams. I mean, you talk about even a team like Kansas State with all the big transition moves that they had to make throughout this past summer to really get ready for this summer or to get ready for this season. Like, I think they had a really good tournament run too, if you ask me. So the Big 12 is up, man. And I mean, I think that a lot of the teams that we saw in this tournament, the ones that make it to the NCAA tournament, we're going to really see them make these competitive.
You don't want to see them.
So as far as you guys' takeaway, Wally and Jay, I want to kind of jump to the Big 10 just right quick, because obviously you guys were boots on the ground. So what I saw from the Big 10 tournament was just pure dominance in UCLA. And there's a lot of talk about UCLA just having that one blunder on a November night against Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And I believe we actually talked about that back in November when we had the joint conversation on the best damn W. And for them to come out and just be as dominant as they've been after, and I will raise my hand and admit when I'm wrong, the amount of turnover I saw in the offseason and the amount of curiosity and questions that I have for Coach Corey Close and how would she implement Gianna Neepkins? What is Sierra Betts in all of this, even with her injury? How is this UCLA team is going to look? London Jones is going to across town now. Like, what are we seeing? And long and behold, Corey Close has done an amazing job, in my opinion, in weathering that storm, because we all know that sometimes that Corey Close can have that game or two or three where we're looking at her, what are you doing? So what were you guys' takeaway overall? The same with Nick, the question that I asked Nick, but I just want to kind of get in particular with the Big Ten, being that you guys were boots on the ground down there. And Jay, you can start.
I'm gonna start with first talking to Corey back at media day. People can say like this player is they focused, they really gonna rebound, and particularly talked about Kiki Rice. And I asked her about her life. She said she's ready to go. She got a lot to prove. She's ready to hoop this year. And at first, I've been really critical of Kiki Rice and UCLA as a whole, but
respectively, yeah,
for sure. And they had that loss, even though they was winning games at the beginning of the year. It wasn't like nothing we was impressed about. And then as the year was going on, like I was lightweight, paying attention to them. Shout out to Nicole, who covers UCLA for us. I would read her articles and I would check up on stuff because she on the team and stuff. So, and then a couple weeks ago, I hit up the group chat like, yo, UCLA ain't lost since November, yo. Like, I think it's the only time I'm paying attention to them.
It's funny because like when he said that, I had no clue.
Like at that point, it was like at 19 straight, 20 straight at that point. At that point. But it was like, and then going back, they was like dominating. Then you started seeing people saying like, I saw Kiki Rice is moving up on the boards. And then before this weekend, people were saying Kiki Rice going number 5 to the sky. To answer your question, and one thing I was really paying attention to was Kiki Rice. And listen, I'm not saying she top 5, but she really showed me something in this tournament. Like they really, I saw maybe one game they was down to like believe Washington, but Corey got in their ass. And ever since then, it's been blowout city. Like what they did, UCLA was really impressive. Like me and Wiley before the game, we sat in the war room and in the media room and stuff. I'm like, man, you think it's gonna be a close game? We going back and forth. Now, see, you gonna see. I'm like, I can't remember if they played or not. We go back February 1st. UCLA beat the shit out of Iowa. So I'm like, I don't know, man. This might happen again.
He asked me, and
not thinking it was worse yesterday than what it was.
Right. He asked me, and I just like,
man, it was like, but UCLA, but overall the tournament was good. Like a lot of teams played good basketball, but even in Iowa's press conference, Coach Jan, she said after the game, she was like, listen, this is just a team. If everybody said they got 3-4 players they got going in the first round, this is the results you get. And she also said, I didn't coach my best, but this is a team. Once you get down against UCLA, you can't lose it mentally. You can't be forgetting to run back. You got even as a big, you got to get Gianna in the corner because she's gonna shoot it. And then she was like, you can't be thinking about you gonna double Lauren because they're gonna find an open 3. And then she said, if you think it's gonna be a drop off because Baby Betts come in, you soundly mistaken because she can do it all as well. This is Iowa's coach saying all this to herself in the press conference. And you see it though, it's like UCLA really showed me a lot. And I know people I've been called a UConn hater because I say UCLA has an argument to be the first overall seed. Like, look at what they got. They got 18 quad wins. They stripped the schedule at number 4, someone number 2 or something crazy.
I got that one. Yeah,
it's like it's just UCLA really showed me. Like I know USC had injuries, Juju, that's for sure. Maryland had injuries. But I was asked weeks ago, like, who I think can compete with UCLA, and I was just stuck because I didn't just. They're a veteran team, you know, and they got a chip on their shoulder from last year.
Yep.
Making it to the Final Four, and then people like us who actually do watch not believe it in them. Like, we got to just see it. And like the same thing I think about Duke going 17 win streak. Listen, what is it now? 25? But I don't give a damn who you're playing. 25 in a row is 25 in a row. Like, and it's not just game-winning shots. They're blowing teams out. Like,
blowing teams out, yeah.
Games be over at halftime right now. So at this point, they got to run the table if they want to. They can't lose now. There is no There is no redo like Duke had before the tournament. There ain't no redo from that. So UCLA showed me a lot. Like, we feel like they got to make it back to the Final Four anyway because you made it there last year. This team is better than last year.
Absolutely.
I feel like Kiki is more decisive. I was really paying attention to her a lot. She's more decisive. She can do it all. I feel like she improved her 3-ball. That's not her favorite thing to do, but she can do it if you leave her open. If she want to shoot it, she can do it. She playing defense. I feel like her numbers look the same as last year, but she still feel like a better player. Like she's still only averaging like 15 a game, but she's strong. Like she got stronger. It's just, man, and Lauren Betts has looked dominant. Like, you come into the hole, this shit getting swatted. Like, they finding her better now. Mir, at one point, it was like, I don't remember watching her little playback. Man, Nick was like, they're not even giving her the ball. But then it's like, Nick pointed out, she's not demanding the ball. She wasn't for a long time.
Yeah.
Bess was not demanding the ball whatsoever. Now she's demanding the block. And then you got players cheating over when she's demanding it. They swing the ball and they shooting it at a high clip. Even players you don't even know they name shooting the ball at a high clip. So, man, they put 96 up on Iowa. Iowa played good defense. Like, 96 points. Man, please. What's the girl, Hannah? I forgot I said her last name.
Hannah Stokey.
No points yesterday. Come on, man. It was impressive. It was really impressive to see a person like that.
Oh yeah, and the pickup where you left off when it comes to these quad wins. So UCLA, like you said, 18-1 in quad 1, 2-0 in quad 2, 5-0 in quad 3, 6-0 in quad 4. When you look at quad 4, your easiest games.
Right.
I took a trip, did me a little research, and I looked at the quad 4 games. UConn 13.
I knew where you was going with it.
LSU 12-0. Louisville 12-0. TCU 14-0. Like, you look at the committee has to take these schedules into consideration. Like,
I agree.
But we've also seen it where we saw it last year with Don Staley in South Carolina, where had a great record and still didn't get the number 1 overall seed.
Right.
I'm with Jay. They definitely should be considered for the number 1 overall spot, but I personally think UConn's going to get it. UConn might just get it off name alone, and we know what their schedule looks like. It's not impressive. Except the schedule's not impressive until you see what they did to the teams not in the conference. They beat their ass too.
Yeah, they
so
did.
It's like, so
I think the only close game was what, Michigan.
Yeah.
Michigan.
And Michigan had to be heroic.
Tennessee was close until it wasn't.
Hey,
Yeah.
look, we was on playback for that. Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, playback.
But we was on playback for that, and like, look, we had to call Low back because Low left, and we was like,
I forgot about that.
This shit,
I forgot about that.
But
Yep, that third, it was
like
that third quarter that did it.
Yeah, but I think UConn. I think UConn's going to get it, but UCLA definitely should be in consideration for it.
They showed me a lot, UCLA.
Like Jay mentioned, Kiki ball. She got an outstanding player of the tournament.
I'll play right now. She was not my vote. I voted for her. I'll put it in for Lauren. I swear I did. I still put it in for Lauren, but
she balled out. The 3 games that I saw her play, like, you can tell she commanded the court for her position. She made sure shit was getting done whenever she was out there. making sure Lauren Betts got fed. They just look just like UConn. They look like a well-oiled machine in that tournament, and they just couldn't be stopped. Yeah, they had some blunt. The game against Washington, slow start, but once they got that ass chewed out in the timeout, they was like, all right, let's get it. And you saw the rest. As far as the other, let me get to the ACC. Louisville blew that. God, I watched that today. You had Duke on, you pretty much had this game sold up. And Amari Berry, baby girl, I need you to hit these free throws. If she hits the free throws, game over.
Did you get a sense of deja vu? Because mind you guys, Wiley was caught in 4K.
He was
when she fell.
Oh yeah.
Yes, there was deja vu all over again, dog. Like
makes the first, miss the second.
Dog, you gotta hit. You got it. This is why we say free throws are important. Free
throws are very
hit
important.
them. Hit your free throws. Free throws mean a hell of a lot when it's a close game. But
absolutely,
yeah, I'm like, dog, Louisville had it in regulation. They had it, and then you get in overtime, and they just shit. Duke's defense turned up, and that was all she wrote.
And I want to go to before you continue, Wiley. I do want to pivot over to Nick right quick because y'all know that I was very, very tough on Duke early. I was very tough on Duke.
We were.
We
all was.
Okay, one band, one sound. I understand.
But I don't like when people do that. When people be like, "What you got to say about Duke now?" It's not like we was lying.
Dog, they were 3-6.
They were awful.
They were horrible.
Right, like they were just making some shit up, like they was winning games.
Hold up, you lose to South Florida. We have to question.
Right, like,
we have
what
to
the
have
hell
a
is
conversation,
going on?
right?
Our critique was accurate.
We have to have a conversation.
And a lot of people don't know
South Florida.
Duke, like the Duke that turned it around is not the same Duke that started the season.
And almost like I don't like people do that. Oh, like that. I got this shit online. Like we weren't lying in November and December about them. They were ass. They weren't playing good basketball. They lost to West Virginia
West Virginia.
Oh yeah,
most of the players got ejected.
80 ejected.
Yeah. 5.
So,
West Virginia had 5 players that game.
Yeah, like,
and you lose.
Like what we talking about? Come on, man. So go ahead. I not put it out there, kid, because people be acting like we were just making stuff up about Duke.
Nah, we weren't making anything up at all.
Why?
We were just trying to figure out what the hell was going on.
Yeah,
why
figure out what was going on.
Like, why can't they close these games out?
Go ahead. I had to put it out there.
But Nick, being that Duke pulled this out, like I'm gonna be absolutely honest with you when I ask you this question, because they have won. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but their recent loss was an upset loss to Clemson, which was a crazy game, by the way. First of all, shout out to my alma mater. Getting busy.
The whole team for you.
Yo, he's getting busy. Like coming from a former scout player for 2 years for that women's team, I know what it felt like to go 2-14 in the conference, and I'm at practice the next day trying to mimic Ivory Latta, trying to get these women ready to play against Ivory Latta. Like those were the dark days. But to see him turn that around, like I'm extremely proud of that squad. But going back to Duke, do you think, Nick, that even with this turnaround, because they are playing some pretty good basketball, we've seen some improvements for sure, but by them winning this ACC title, do they have a legit shot at least competing to get to the Final Four, let alone going back to the Elite Eight like they did last year?
Man, if this was November, I'd be like, hell no. Now that I'm looking at them, like, I mean, you talk about it, man. I mean, they started off the season on a poor start. And honestly, I mean, I know that they lost some tough teams, obviously, like to West Virginia. That was an inexcusable loss. The South Florida one was an inexcusable loss, but I will give them the benefit of the doubt because they had to face teams like South Carolina in that Thanksgiving tourney. They also faced LSU as well. So they did have to go up against a lot of tough teams. So I will give them some of the benefit of the doubt. But I will say, giving credit to Carol Lawson and just how she's been able to transform this team into, or just pretty much back into a contender, is just really remarkable, if you ask me. So do they have a shot at making the Final Four? I'm not going to bank on it, but anything is possible. Anything is definitely possible. I mean, you talk about how talented Duke has shown us to be, and even early on when they did get off to the poor start, even when we were critiquing them, I'm like, this team has talent. This team, talent-wise, might have been better than what they were last year. I mean, you talk about the additions of Ariana Robinson, Riley Nelson. Obviously, Toby Fournier was there. So they have great talent who could compete on both ends of the floor. It was just all about putting everything together. But when you talk about just this turnaround that they had, being able to dominate the ACC outside of that loss to Clemson, just being able to even pull out some tough games, even in this tournament, like that Notre Dame game. I'll be real. I was talking with Lo about it the other day. Notre Dame had a shot at winning that. They were really close at winning that game.
Definitely could have won.
Give credit to Duke for that late game execution. And then obviously, I think Hannah went out for a few minutes in the fourth quarter. That obviously helped them as well. So they were able to pull that up. But then even also in his Louisville game, I mean, Wiley talked about it. I mean, Louisville definitely had a shot at winning that. I mean, they pretty much had control in the first half and even throughout the second half as well. And I will give Duke a lot of credit because they were making some hustle plays in that match. I mean, getting to the 50-50 balls, being able to attack the offensive boards. But I'll be real, they were also just flat out missing shots, especially from point blank range. So that was honestly put in Louisville's favor to be able to close that game. And even late in the game, Ashley Jackson had a right wing three that was just, what is this? What in
33 feet? And what are you doing?
Exactly. I'm like, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty much giving the game away on it, but hey, give credit for them to being able to force overtime. Riley Nelson ended up hitting a big three in the corner late in that game, but then I mean that was just pretty much it, honestly. So when you look at Duke and just how they come together, I mean, you could say talent-wise, they don't match up with a lot of other teams in the country, but they have that togetherness, and I think that's something that's really stood out. I will give credit to one player in particular, and that's Tyna Mayer. I think Tyna Mayer has definitely done a great job of running that show, honestly. Just me watching her at Boston College a couple years ago, and then her transfer into this Duke program, you've seen a lot of improvements just in her decision-making. Her shooting is a lot more improved as well. Just being able to get the best out of others as well, just being able to be the floor general of that team and really be able to push everything. I give her a lot of credit as well. Ashley Jackson, I mean, even though we did critique her for that 3-pointer late in the game, but I think one thing that stood out by Ashley, obviously with her being the vet, but just her, I think just her all-around leadership, and then of course her playmaking too has been really incredible, especially throughout ACC play, then of course throughout this tournament. So I think the one thing that stands out is that each player, as talented as they are, they all play their role to perfection. I think that's what's going to possibly help them make a deep run of the tournament. Because I mean, we've obviously seen it over the past couple years, especially last year, the Elite Eight before losing to South Carolina. But this year in particular, I mean, even though they did have a tough start, you can't Duke out. You just can't.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
We definitely said a couple weeks ago they ceiling was Sweet 16.
Sweet 16, I can see that. I can see,
but it could get bumped up to Elite Eight. To be honest,
do y'all think they're a 2 seed in the tournament?
Door has been open because TCU had lost.
Yeah. And I say that I agree with Jay, because if you look at what happened last year, it was kind of almost, it's not technically the same, but you could make an argument that because they won the ACC and the way that they did it, their quad one wins aren't all shine. It's not all glitz and glamour, but I mean, they were able to run the gauntlet respectfully in the ACC, except for that one Clemson loss, which I think Clemson bought themselves into being a tournament team. So the committee, they'll take that into consideration. Okay, you lost to a tournament team. That's fine. But I think that they've moved into that 2 seed spectrum, but they might run into that same situation with South Carolina, which would be considered the 4th 1 seed and could be in that same bracket out in California. That's what I'm not anticipating that, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see Duke get that raw end of the deal, because you look at it from that perspective, you're not going to jump West Virginia all the way up to a 2 seed. So it's
No.
nah. Just because they won the Big 12 tournament is not, honestly, it doesn't hold much merit because I think a lot of people had Duke winning the ACC championship if it
Yeah, I
wasn't.
believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, if it wasn't going to be Notre Dame making a surprise effort. But I think for the vast majority, a lot of people had Duke winning. Louisville was a distant second, honestly, and then everybody was okay. Don't sleep on Notre Dame. So
Yeah.
I think they deserve. Of course, there's a difference between deserved and what's really in front of you, but I think they deserve that two seed slot. But speaking
Who the
of,
other 2 seeds though?
that's a good question because just what Nick said, TCU lost.
Yeah.
Do we give those credits to somebody? Now I'm just spitballing from a overall team standpoint. Do we give somebody the benefit of the doubt, the Louisville, who was sitting on that second? Because I think when they lost, were they nationally ranked number 8 or number 7?
I don't know, but since you said that, Iowa got blown out and they moved it up to number.
You said TCU?
Really?
Yeah, and Iowa got blown up to number 7 in the new ranking.
Yes, Iowa. Yes,
I didn't even see the new regular.
Yeah, I'm looking at them now. Iowa is
wild.
definitely number 7. West
They get
Virginia.
their ass
West
whipped.
Virginia got bumped up 3 spots to number 12.
But also,
See, I think they would be in that 3. They would be on that 3 line. Or that fringe 4 line if they got bumped up to 12 on the national ranking.
but also, would it help as well? Because I think many of us predicted Vanderbilt would have been a 2 seed in this tournament, in
Yes.
the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
But obviously, with them losing in that round against Ole Miss, that might.
You think they're gonna
Push
get
them
knocked
down.
down to 3?
I don't know. I mean,
I doubt it. I
don't know. They might.
I would love for them to be a 2 seed still.
Here we
But
go.
I don't.
You got Vanderbilt, Duke, TCU, West Virginia, Louisville. They fighting for a 2 seed. Well, who would be the 1 seeds?
I probably.
UCLA.
Yeah, I would say
UCLA.
one seeds are. They must say one seeds are UConn, UCLA,
Texas and South Carolina.
South Carolina. Because Texas and South Carolina was fighting for that third.
That third seed, yeah.
That was obvious. Whoever
Yeah.
won the SEC was going to be the hands down third seed.
Oh, LSU. Oh shit, that's another. That 2 seed.
I don't know if LSU is top 2.
I don't
LSU
know.
might get that 3 line.
3.
I think they might be
I
in
agree
3
with that.
too. Okay.
So we got.
It's not out the
Vandy.
question. It's not out the question for Vandy to get that 2 seed.
Yeah, I think
No,
wouldn't
it's not.
matter.
I don't think so.
I
They
think
played
they
horribly versus.
But I
Ole
think they
Miss.
get it.
That was a
I think they
horrible-
get it.
That was a horrible show.
So does
And
that
I'm
mean
so-
if Vanderbilt does get it, then that means I don't think West Virginia will have a chance.
No, I think
I don't
West
know.
Virginia will be. I think they would slide down to that third or fourth,
Yeah.
fourth line. If they slide to the third, then obviously they're competing with your LSU's. They won't be in the same bracket, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think that's fair. That's fair to assess. But
Mhm.
speaking of the SEC, man, they had a wild one in Greenville, South Carolina. Texas are your SEC tournament champions after South Carolina beat them out to be the regular season champion, the number 1 overall in the SEC tournament. I want to say from a takeaway standpoint, it was obvious that Texas had this game on their mind since they lost last year.
On their mind.
It was obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they came out with such force, energy, and focus. They were actually focused the entire SEC tournament. They looked really, really good. Had a great blowout win, if I'm not mistaken, against Alabama. Turn around and win against Ole Miss, and then have they start the game off on a 14-0 run off of 5 live ball turnovers from South Carolina, and they just did not look back. They that was the run that kept them ahead of the game. I guarantee you, and yeah, I hate to put what ifs in place because if ifs was a fifth, I'll be drunk. But I guarantee you it might be a different story had Coach Don Staley called a timeout at 6-0 as opposed to
I agree.
17-2. So
Did you think
to
she would have? she went the Phil Jackson route. So y'all gonna figure
Yeah,
this shit
that's
out
kind of
before.
what Phil was there too. Phil was gonna
Yeah.
let you play through the
Yeah.
adversity, allow you to figure it out yourself. And I think Don kind of has that as well. But sometimes
Yeah.
you just got called time.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta call that timeout.
Yeah. After the second live ball turnover, I was calling a timeout. I'm not allowing 5 consecutive live ball turnovers.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing with basketball. Turnovers is one thing. The way you turn the ball over is another.
It matters.
You got those live ball turnovers that turns into points sometimes, but then you have those dead ball turnovers that turns into, oh, we can get our defense back.
Mhm.
But that just didn't look good at all yesterday as we record this on a Monday night. But I just think that from an SEC standpoint, Texas they looked the part. Just my man Proposition Joe told Avon, look the part, be the part, motherfucker. And that's what Texas did.
They did.
Exactly that.
No, that ass.
Getting out to a 14-0 run, and then being able to keep, because you see teams that will do something like that and then they completely lose the lead.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely.
Texas did what most teams should do, and that's continue to keep your foot on the gas.
Mhm.
Yes.
For Justice Carlton outscoring South Carolina by herself in the first quarter, I was like, what the hell is going on? But when you're watching the game, she
Get all the turnovers.
Yeah, it seemed she was at every spot at the right time. Every turnover. She got a turnover early in the game where they passed Raven Johnson the ball, and it was Raven. She had caught it, and she was getting ready to gather herself, and then Justice came and just steals the ball in 2 points. But it just seemed like she was everywhere at the right time, and then on other turnovers, she's running. Because you always want your big, if you run, your guard's going to find you. If you got a good point guard, they're going to find you, and they're going to reward you. And she did just that. She played her role to the T. Now, she ended up fouling out in the game, but by that time, the game was pretty much in hand, I would say.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
But to let one person outscore the entire team, South Carolina better get their shit together, or else we'll fuck around and see something like that again.
I'm gonna ask y'all this, Nick and Kdot, because this game was going on during the same time as the Big Ten championship.
Right.
Did y'all think South Carolina was gonna make a comeback? Watching it live,
they had spurts where they were trying to make a run. I'll say maybe late first quarter, early second quarter, you started to see more efficient offense. They started getting better production. But the energy that Texas had, they just couldn't compete with. And I think that was a difference. I mean, and this is also what I talked about earlier, the whole mental aspect. Because you got to think, Texas had just played Ole Miss that Saturday night, 7:30, 8:30 at night.
Yeah,
Now they got to
right.
turn around and play at, 2, 3 in the afternoon. That's less than 24 hours to really get ready for an SEC championship game against your quote-unquote rivals or whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, I will give South Carolina credit because they were trying to make some runs. But I'll be real. Once Texas took over in the first quarter, like I said, there was no look. They just kept their foot on the gas.
Yeah, I don't even elaborate more on what Nick said because it's exactly what I would tell you, Jay. It was just certain situations in that game. You said, okay, yeah, now they're getting into it, but Texas was just We already went up 14. The score is 0-0. We just need to continue going score for score with y'all. But they just had a 14-point bump. So I think that the strategy, and it got to a point where Vic Schaefer didn't take his jacket off. That's you're clicking on all cylinders when your head does not take the jacket off.
Yeah, that's real. That's real.
So I thought that Texas just got the job done, and all of their supporting cast, along with Maddie Booker, who finally was there for the moment, because we've seen times where the moment got to her and she wasn't as efficient. She wasn't as aggressive, but we didn't see that yesterday. She was extremely aggressive. And
that second half.
Yeah. Let her.
I love watching her. Cause she played with, you saw it. And of course it's easy to do that when you're up that. But
Correct.
we know the type of game that Maddie has, and the way that second half, she was just picking her spots and hitting that jump. Bam.
Yep. Absolutely.
It just felt every time she released it, it was
a bona fide. Yeah, it was a shoot in the beginning. Yeah, for sure.
And but I love seeing it. And it's just players that you see on the court, and I love when they get into that groove and they're playing with confidence, and she's one of them.
And also, just real quick on South Carolina, it's one thing to lose. And I'm not going to fault them for losing, but they got punched in the mouth.
Yeah.
It was just literally that simple. And I don't think that they were ready for that type of intensity that Texas was going to come out with. And the one thing I'll say, too, about SC is that there's so many players on this team that you can't have a soft mentality when you play at South Carolina. You just can't have that whatsoever. For instance, I heard Medina in an interview. I can't remember if it was after the Texas game or after the LSU game, pretty much explaining, this is my first time in this position. I've never been here before and everything. And I understand that, yes. But also, when you put on a South Carolina uniform, there's a standard that comes with playing for Don Staley in the game. This is a winning program. They've shown to be a winning program for the last decade or so. The first one in 2017 with Asia, and then Aaliyah ended up winning one, and then the more recent one a couple years ago. So there's a standard that you have to play with. And I understand that there's other players and teams that are more experienced than you guys in this situation, but the lack of effort that I saw from South Carolina yesterday was just piss poor effort, if you ask me. Not even boxing out for rebounds. I'm seeing Medina and Joyce get cooked on the boards, not being able to defend the post players. I mean, hell, Bria Cunningham was having a masterclass underneath the basket, whether it's a pick and roll, playing with her back to the basket. She was just pretty much doing literally everything. Same thing with Justice Carlton. So just them not getting all around effort from everybody. And I get it. Like I said, I mean, they were also another team that obviously had a big game the game before against LSU. But at the end of the day, I mean, you guys are proven to be at the top of the SEC, so you got to be able to finish the job. So, I mean, not even just them in particular, not even just Joyce Medina. I mean, Tanai only had 4 points. They didn't make her first field goal till late in the game. Raven had 9 points and 4 turnovers. Tessa didn't have the best shooting performance. So literally nobody really gave the maximum effort that was needed for them to win that game. But honestly, hopefully this is a wake-up call for them. And hopefully this will be a motivating factor for them going into the tournament, because obviously, I think this game kind of showed them that they need to be locked in at all times.
That's going to do it for part 1 of our conversation here on Jump Ball and Study Hall. We broke down the conference championships, the biggest statement wins from championship week, and what teams may have positioned themselves best heading into the NCAA tournament. But we're not done yet. In part 2, we take a deeper dive into the freshman and national player of the year, and we also take a good look at what could possibly happen in this next WNBA draft if we do have a season, barring CBA agreements. So make sure you stay locked in. For Jay, Nick, and Wiley of the Best Damn W, I'm Kevin K. Lewis, and we'll see you in part 2 of Jump Ball and Study Hall.